Alright folks, Rich Van Tassel here, finishing up our game picks for week 1 of the NFL season. And of course we are recording audio for Get Live Radio. Next game, the Carolina Panthers traveling across the country to play the San Francisco 49ers. Injuries for the visiting Panthers: Vernon Butler, defensive tackle, doubtful. Kyle Love, defensive tackle, questionable. Dacian Hall, defensive end, questionable. Jared Norris, linebacker, is out. And Cole Luke, the cornerback, is out. So some serious injuries on the defensive side of the ball for the Carolina Panthers. You have a doubtful defensive tackle, and then a defensive end, and another defensive tackle at questionable, and a linebacker who is out, and a cornerback who is out. So all three levels of the defense, you have some form of injuries, and it looks like at least on all three, you will have someone not playing because Vernon Butler, the defensive tackle, is listed as doubtful. For the San Francisco 49ers, all listed as questionable: George Kittle, tight end; Jimmy Ward, cornerback; Aaron Lynch, linebacker. Carolina, a team I have high expectations for a bounce-back season coming into this year. Of course, you have the secondary improving with guys like James Bradbury, who was a rookie last year. He needs to step up. And the big story for the Carolina Panthers is the switch in their offense. Much more quick passing, getting the ball out of Cam Newton's hands, allowing him to avoid taking as many shots as he has in the past. That's something to keep an eye on this season. As far as the San Francisco 49ers, they are not going to be a good team this year, but I don't think they're going to be just a complete embarrassment to themselves either for the season. I think they'll put a professional effort forward. You have some pros on the team. You have good players like Eric Reed. You have professional, longtime players like Joe Staley on the offensive line. San Francisco will just be outmatched most of the time, but they'll still be professional during most parts of this season. However, Carolina can't lose this game if they want to prove that it's going to be a bounce-back season for them. San Francisco will struggle to find the end zone. Carolina will find it enough. I'm liking 24-7 in favor of the Carolina Panthers. Next game, Seattle Seahawks are traveling to Green Bay, that is. Excuse me. Injuries for the visiting Seahawks: Thomas Rawls, running back; Tyler Lockett, wide receiver; Richard Sherman, cornerback; and Frank Clark, defensive end, are all questionable. As I've said, I expect questionables to go. For the Packers, Brian Bulaga, the offensive tackle, is questionable. The rest are out. Vince Beagle, linebacker; Demetri Goodson, cornerback; Montravius Adams, defensive tackle. So another one of those good games we're getting in week 1. Two teams that won the division last year. Certainly they've been competitive. They've won their divisions for the most part for the better part of the past couple of seasons moving forward. So you have this game. You have Aaron Rodgers going up against what is a very good Seattle secondary. Richard Sherman is questionable, but of course I'm expecting him to play. I'd like to see if Green Bay can develop the running game. No, nor has Seattle's running game been very good as well. So this game could become a shootout. Of course, you have Eddie Lacy going from the Packers to Seattle in the running game. So keep an eye on that. I don't expect Eddie Lacy to put forth much of a strong effort this season, but who knows? Maybe he is underweight. He's gotten himself into shape, and he's going to be able to do some things for the Seattle Seahawks. But I really see struggles with both teams' running games. Ty Montgomery is a wide receiver who's now moved to running back. And will he get figured out? I'm expecting, for the most part, he will moving forward this season. Aaron Rodgers plays very well. The Green Bay Packers are at home. Seattle, I'm expecting a bit of a drop-off, even though I have them having a good record this season. I think it's because of a weak division they play in and a relatively easy schedule. So I'm looking for Green Bay to be able to handle the Seattle Seahawks in this game. I like 24-17, and that'll only be 7 points because I think Seattle will get a late touchdown when the game is basically over for them, having to rely on an onside kick, those sort of things. And then the Sunday night game, the New York Giants are traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Injuries for the Giants first: Keenan Robinson, linebacker, is out. Odell Beckham Jr., the wide receiver, is questionable. For the Cowboys, their two rookie corners drafted in the second and third rounds, respectively, Chidobe Awuzie and Jordan Lewis, are both questionable. Of course, big thing with this is Ezekiel Elliott is playing in the game. There was the injunction, so expect he will play the entire season. What I'm looking at in this game is the New York Giants offensive line, which has its struggles, and the Dallas Cowboys defensive line, which has had its struggles to get pressure. Of course, the Giants don't run the ball particularly well either. So you're going to see which team has and which team doesn't, because you're going against a weak unit. So who's ever winning that matchup is showing that they've come a long ways, because they've certainly have a weaker unit. Like, if the Cowboys defensive line dominates the Giants offensive line, then you really have to wonder where the Giants offensive line is. Certainly there will be questions as to whether the Dallas offensive line or the defensive line is that great, or the Giants offensive line is that bad, vice versa, however you want to look at it. Certainly a big test for this Cowboys revamped secondary. They have not looked good in preseason. You have a good team with the Giants, and certainly wide receiver threats, Brandon Marshall, Sterling Shepard, and of course Odell Beckham Jr. Who knows if he will be able to go again. He's listed as questionable. This is one of the situations, though, where I think they're listing him as questionable, and there's actually a strong chance he won't play. But I am expecting him to play. I don't want to give the impression I'm not. I think this is one of the areas where they're trying to hype it up, though. As far as usually a questionable is just, they say questionable because that's what it is. This is a situation, Sunday Night Football, Cowboys, Giants, they may be trying to hype it up. I'm still expecting Odell Beckham Jr. to play. At the end of the day, I think the Cowboys do what they do. They run the ball, they control the clock, and they come away with the victory in this game. I'd have to see what their secondary does. There's certainly the potential the Giants will go up and down the field, but as long as the Cowboys control the clock, they will prevent that. They have to do that. That's what makes them effective, and we'll see. Maybe Jalen Smith, now that he basically redshirted his rookie year following that injury, will get pressure. Maybe Taco Charlton will be able to do things. That secondary may hold up. Let's see if Byron Jones can develop. Cowboys will struggle to pass the ball, but they'll run the ball enough, even though the Giants shut them down both times last year. The Cowboys also have a lot of weapons, even though the Giants have a strong secondary. Bryce Butler emerging is very good. Cole Beasley in the slot. I'd expect to see a lot of four wides and just spreading the Giants out, and look for Dak Prescott to distribute. Cowboys get the victory 28-24 over the New York Giants. Okay, and just a reminder to all those listening on Get Live Radio, you can check out my YouTube channel, the Rich Van Tassel channel as well, and you'll get the Monday night previews when I do those, and the Thursday night previews as well, and of course the recaps of all these games. So we will see you next week. Thank you all so much for those listening on WBJ. Alright, just forget the end of that, doing the recording as well. We'll see you all tomorrow after the games go final. Remember to pay attention to that. We'll give you the recaps of each of those games, and just forget about that. I'm doing audio and video at the same time. Sometimes it's tough to do, but we will be here tomorrow giving you the recaps of the games when they go final, so be sure to stay tuned. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.